So, Google just dropped this massive update to NotebookLM. And honestly, they didn't make a big deal about it. Most of the good stuff was just buried in one blog post. So of course, I spent the last week digging into every single change to show you what you're probably missing.
And after all that digging, I gotta say, there's one really important question for anyone using this tool right now. Are you still using it like it's 3 months ago? Because if you are, man, you are missing out on the best new features.
Yeah, I'm talking like 80% of what this thing can actually do now. Your old habits, they just don't cut it anymore. All right, so here's the game plan for this explainer. We're gonna break down this total transformation. We'll start with the raw power upgrades, what's under the hood. Then, we'll see how it becomes a real AI research assistant. After that, we'll dive into the brand new Content Studio. And finally, we'll see how it pulls all your research together. Sound good? Let's jump in.
Okay, first things first, the engine. Before we get to all the flashy, cool new features, we have to look under the hood. These are the foundational upgrades that make everything else even possible.
I mean, just look at the scale of this thing. The amount of source material NotebookLM can process in one go has jumped by 8 times. 8! That is a huge deal. You know when you had a really big notebook and you'd get these super vague answers? Well, that was because the AI was only looking at a tiny piece of your documents. With this update, that whole problem is pretty much gone.
And it's not just about what it can read, it's about what it can remember. The conversation memory is now 6 times longer. What that means for you is you can have those really long, complex back and forths, and the AI isn't going to completely forget what you were talking about 10 minutes ago. Okay, so you've got more processing power, you've got better memory. What does it all add up to? Well, according to Google, we're talking a 50% improvement in response quality when you have a lot of sources. And honestly, from my own testing, you feel the difference right away. The answers are just sharper, way more specific, and they're pulling insights from documents the old version would have totally ignored.
So, a stronger engine is awesome, but what you tell that engine to do, that's what really matters. And that brings us to what I think is the single most important update of them all, turning this AI from just a simple tool into your own specialized research assistant.
So how does this actually work? Well, before, that custom instruction field was tiny, just 500 characters. That's barely enough to say, act like a researcher, and not much else. But now, it's 10,000 characters. And look, this isn't just a little bump. This is a fundamental shift in how you use the tool. You can now give the AI a super detailed job description, telling it exactly how to think, how to structure its answers, to call out contradictions in your sources, and, this is critical, to avoid just making stuff up when it doesn't know the answer.
And the result is, well, you're not getting a normal chatbot answer anymore. You're actually turning this thing into a serious research assistant that is structured, evidence-based, and just way, way more reliable. It's tailored exactly to what you need.
And this is so powerful that the community is already all over it. There's a GitHub repository called Awesome NotebookLM Prompts, where people are sharing and tweaking these detailed instructions for everything you can imagine, from academic analysis to creating these slick product showcases. But it's not just about the chat side.
So yeah, the chat side is a whole new ballgame. But the studio panel, you know, where you actually make stuff, that got an equally massive overhaul. So let's check out the new ways you can create directly from all that research. Okay, that audio overview feature, which was already pretty unique, now has 4 different formats. You can get a quick 1 to 2 minute brief, just a summary. You can get a critique, which is awesome. It points out the weaknesses and gaps in your sources. Or you can get a debate, where 2 AI hosts argue opposing views from your material. And of course, the original deep dive is still there. So now you have the right tool for any situation. Okay, so beyond the audio stuff, Google added a totally new output type, data tables. And if you've ever tried to copy a table from a chatbot into a spreadsheet, you know the formatting nightmare that happens next. Well, this new feature, it completely solves that. And the process is just dead simple. You just describe the table you want, NotebookLM generates it, pulling the data right from your sources. And then, one click, it's exported to Google Sheets. Seriously, what used to take me hours of painful manual work now literally happens in seconds, and it's perfect every time. You also get total control over visuals now. You can pick the orientation, wide, portrait, square. You can dial in the level of detail, concise, standard, or detailed. But the real power move here is the custom prompt. You can describe the exact vibe you're going for, like say a clean editorial magazine style with serif typography, and the model actually follows your direction. You get something that really matches your vision. Okay, so all of these updates are super impressive, but this last one, I think this is the most strategic.
It fixes one of NotebookLM's biggest problems from the past by finally connecting your research to the wider world.
Right, so before, NotebookLM was basically its own little island. You did all your amazing research inside the notebook, but the second you wanted to create something with it, you had to leave and start all over again in a different app. It was so clunky.
Well, not anymore. Now you can use your NotebookLM notebooks as a grounded source directly inside the Gemini app.
And this creates a whole new power dynamic. You do your deep, grounded, cited research in NotebookLM, making this perfect little collection of sources. And grounded, by the way, just means the AI is forced to pull its answers only from the documents you gave it. Then you take that curated knowledge over to Gemini for all your creative brainstorming and writing, and you can trust that it's pulling from your verified material, not just its general random training data.
So after digging through all of these changes, from the engine upgrades to the new outputs, it's that 10,000 character prompt field that I just keep coming back to. Because that one single change, it fundamentally turns every single notebook you create into its own specialized tool, built for exactly the job you need it to do.
Look, these updates are going to widen the gap between people who just dabble and the real power users. This tool isn't just a notebook anymore. It's a fully customizable AI-powered research assistant. So the only question left is, now that it's ready for you, what are you going to build with it?